Give me a permission.
So you have permission.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So can you?
Yeah, Gulnaz, we can hear you.
Can you see?
Yes, we see.
Okay. So using literary text language teaching. So first, what is a text? Literary text. A literary text is a fiction story. The word fiction means fake, made up, not real. It tells a story of things that cannot happen in real life. For example, like a story about unicorn, a rat dressed like a pirate, or a pumpkin that turns into carriage. So I would like to talk about examples of literary texts. There are novels, short stories, legends, poems, myths, and songs. Literary texts have illustration. Illustration helps readers understand the story elements of the story or book are reading. Literary elements about literature or story, a part of something. A literary element is a part of a story. So now let's talk about the elements of literary texts. There are 7 elements. So first, setting. It's about when and where a story takes place. And second, characters. People, it is a people and animal in the story. So then plot. Plot is important events and actions in the story. Next, conflict. Conflict, it is the big problem in the story. And next, theme. Theme, it's a story's message about life. And mood. Mood, it is how the story feels for the reader, happy, sad, or scary. And last one is tone. So how the author feels about the subject. Words expresses the writer's attitudes towards the texts. And so I would also talk about classification of literary texts. There are 3 classifications of literary text: narrative, dramatic, and lyrical. So first one is narrative. The narrative is the text that narrates a story. And then dramatic. The second one is dramatic. This is the text that can be performed. And lastly, lyrical, which is the text that can be sung. So that's all, teacher.
Okay, thanks a lot. So who would like to continue? We are short in time, yes? As you know.
Can I, teacher? Can I demonstrate?
Dana Babakhanova.
you hear me?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can.
Mhm. Okay. Using literary text in language teaching, especially enhancing communication competence, raising cultural awareness, and generating motivation.
Baba Khanwa, you have a bad internet connection.
Students. Research studies have shown the linguistic knowledge.
Baba Khanwa, please switch off your demonstration. And I would like to give a chance to another student because you have a bad internet connection. So fix your internet connection. Asiel,
Can I continue in that case?
Okay. I prepared a lesson plan based on literature work of a fiction. I took as an example Ernest Hemingway's novel, For Whom the Bell Tolls. How can I use this literature text in ESL classroom? First of all, we use icebreaker. Show students pictures or short video clip of Spain. It helps students understand the theme of our lessons.
Asiel? Asiel, what's wrong with your internet?
I don't know. Okay, I continue. Second of all, grasping vocabulary. We ask students the questions like how many people are mentioned in text. Can you find their names and genders? How does the text describes Pablo's appearance? What is the meaning of the following words? And others. The third is understanding context. Try to do a Google search on Ernest Hemingway. What is his like as a person? What were the times like in which he lived? As a writer, what is the special about his work? Third is the writing. We use the students' task like in your own words, explain what you think is the background to this text. Using your imagination, write a paragraph about what you think would happen. Similarly, novels provide descriptive writing, helping the ESL learners use imagination in language acquisition. The use of literature text also provides a degree of motivation to learners. So that's all.
Finish it, Asiel?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thanks a
that's
lot.
all.
Who's next?
Can I?
Alia.
So using literature, literary text in language teaching. uh, 1 minute. The use of literature in the English language teaching classroom is enjoying a revival for a number of reasons. Having formed part of traditional language teaching approaches, literature became less popular when language teaching and learning to focus on the functional use of teaching. The purpose of the language, what do we mean by literature? John distinguishes between literature with a capital, the classical texts, Shakespeare, Dickens, and literature with a small, which refers to popular fiction. And literature texts can be studied in their original forms or in simplified, abridged versions. The types of letter texts that can be studied inside and outside the English language teaching classroom includes short stories, poems, novels, plays, and song lyrics. And there is one question, why we use literature in the English language teaching classroom. Literature texts provide opportunities for multi-sensory classroom experiences and can appeal to learners with different learning style. And also texts can be supplemented by audio texts, music, CDs, and film clips, all of which enhance even further the richness of the sensory input that students receive. And also literature can help learners to develop their understanding of understanding of their culture, awareness of difference, and to develop tolerance and understanding. What are some of challenges to be faced when using literature in the classrooms? Literature texts can present teachers and learners with a number of difficulties, including text selection, linguistic difficulty, length, and cultural difficulty. Cultural difficulty means text should not be so culturally dense that outsiders feel excluded from understanding essential meaning. And cultural appropriacy, learners shouldn't be offended by textual content. And how can we use text? How can literal texts be used? Firstly, teachers can exploit literature text in a large number of ways in the classroom. The classroom work with literature works may involve pre-reading tasks, interactive work on the text, and follow-up activities. And also, we should minimize the extent to which the teacher disturbs students' reading, draw attention to stylistic peculiarity, and we should help our students to appreciate the ways that writers use language to achieve particular effects. So then such kind of things we can do in our teaching. In our teaching. That is all, I think.
Can I continue?
Yeah, you may.
So by using literature text, students learn new words, syntax, and discourse functions, and they learn connex sentence patterns, standard story structures, and they develop their writing skills also. To this end, the dictionary language literature has been institutionalized and in our curricula for the primary school. And moreover, for young learners, literature plays an important role in forming the reading skills, but also in forming a reading habit. It's generally acknowledged that reading has become for the present generations a challenge which is rarely overcome. So, what do we mean by literature? John McRae distinguishes between literature with a capital L, the classical text, for example, Shakespeare, Dickens, and the literature with a small I, which refers to popular fiction, fables, and song lyrics. And the literature used in ELT classrooms today is no longer restricted to canonical texts from certain countries, for example, UK, USA, but includes the work of writers from a diverse range of countries and cultures using different forms of language. And it can be literature text can be like this: stories, short stories, poems, novels, plays, and song lyrics. And text can be supplemented by audio text, music, film clips, podcasts, and all of which enhance when even further the riches of the sensory input and that students receive. Literature texts offers a rich source of linguistic input and can help learners to practice of three skills: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So in addition to exemplifying grammatical structures and presenting new vocabulary. And also literature lessons can lead the public displays of students' output through posters of students' creations, poems, stories, and so far a variety of linguistics, cultural, and personal growth reasons. And literary texts can be more motivating than the referential ones often used in classrooms. For example, the number of difficult, including text selection, text can need to be chosen that have relevance to interest learners, and linguistic difficulty text need to be appropriate to the level of students, and also length shorter text may be easier to use within the class time available. Cultural difficulty and cultural appropriacy. And Duff and Mallet stress that teachers can cope with many of the challenges that literary texts present if they ask a series of questions to assess the suitability of texts of any particular group of learners. Is the subject matter likely to interest this group? Is the language level appropriate? Is it the right length for the time available? And in conclusion, I can say that the integration of literature in EFL classes is of great importance due to the advantages it offers. And literature is a useful technique for teaching both basic language skills and language aspects. Literary text provides students with authentic materials, and their use in language classes helps students improve learning, develops their critical thinking, and enhances their cultural education. That's all.
Okay, thanks a lot. So,
Teacher,
Galia, I
can
would
I
like,
report?
Galia, could you please
Yeah.
wait for a minute? Galia, I would like to inform you, and I beg you to inform other students that right now we are only 11 participants in our conference. So it means
Yes.
only 10 students are presenting. I will make a mark according to the late list of the students. So those who are absent right now will be marked as an absent student, okay? Tell them
Okay.
that
Okay.
it's not good to cheat. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Continue, Baba Khanova, Dana.
Okay, Galia will demonstrate my presentation.
Okay.
Dana, you may start.
Okay. Literary texts play an important role in learning English language, especially enhancing communication competence, raising cultural awareness, and generating motivation among students. Research studies have shown the potential advantages of using literary text in the EFL classrooms, which promote authentic materials, help increase language skills, and extend linguistic knowledge. Alia. Benefits of using literature. Kay listed three major benefits of using literature. It fosters learners' reading skill, it promotes tolerance, it helps learners become creative. Many authors stress the benefits of using literary text as a basis for imaginative, interactive, and discussion activities, also stressing the value of drama and role play activities in developing not only students' oral language skills, but also their imaginative sensibilities. So they will be receptive to a literary text and be better able to make a personal response to it. Other authors are prepared to make later, larger claims for the power of literature. They believe that a study of literature can develop students' character, help build emotional maturity, and equip students with new critical faculties. Using drama in the classroom is valuable. It develops students' reading comprehension, vocabulary building, and most important, in using language to negotiate in real situations. One of the drawbacks in the use of literary texts, such as novels and poems, is that many of them contain language forms that learners of a language find difficult to understand. This could be overcome by simplifying them, often leading to a loss of literariness, leading to criticism that the text became pale imitations of the original writing. The lack of suitable text in the traditional body of the literature, in my view, opens the door for inclusion of drama in language learning curricula, as it tends to use much more naturalistic language than in poems and novels. Drama texts help to address the need for sufficient text for worthwhile reading in which suitable materials can be accessed. Okay, what about short stories? Auster argued that short story is a powerful and motivating factor for teaching four skills. For example, teacher oral reading, role play, enactment of characters, dramatic presentation, interpretation, and discussion can lead the learners enhance their language. According to Colley and Slater, short stories are beneficial because of its short length, its clarity and simplicity, its different tastes and interests, and its vast and varied topics. According to Partitz, a great number of English language trainers found short stories as fascinating to be used both as text for individual enjoyment and as model for language classrooms. Speck suggests that the language teacher should select short stories which can be interesting for learners. According to Mickey and Rivas, if a literary text is relevant to their life experience and interests learners to read and enjoy it. That's all.
Okay, thanks a lot. Who would like to continue?
Continue.
Mhm. Please welcome.
Okay, using literary text in language teaching. In recent years, there has been an upsurge of recent in the use of literary in the language classroom. Is use of the literary in the English language teaching classrooms in enjoying a revival for a number of reasons. Having formed part of traditional language teaching approaches, literature become less popular when language teaching and learners started to focus on the functional of language. However, the role of language in the English language teaching classrooms has been resisted, and the many Ukrainian, Russian, European, and American educators now view literary texts and appropriating rich linguistic input effective similar for students to express themselves in other languages and a potential source of learner motivation. Literary texts can be studied in their original forms or in simplified or abridged versions. An increasing number of stories in English are written specifically for learners of other languages. The types of literature texts can be studied inside or outside. The English language teaching classrooms include first short stories, second poems, short novels, for plays, and songwriting. Why use literature in the English language English language teaching classroom? Literary texts provide opportunities for multi-sensorial classroom experiences and can appeal for to learners with different learning style. Text can be supplemented by audio text, music, CDs, film clips, podcasts, all of the which enhance and further the richness of the sensorium input that students receive. Literature text after rich course of linguistic input and can help learners to practice the four skills: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. In addition to exploring grammatical structures and reciting new vocabulary, literature can help learners to um, develop their understanding of other cultures, variances of difference, and to develop tolerance and understanding. And what are some of the challenges to be faced then using literature in the classroom? Literature text can be present teachers and the learners with a number of difficulties, including text selection. Text need to be chosen that have relevance and interesting to learners. Linguistic difficult text need to be approached to the level of the students' apprehension. Alon's shorter text may be easier to use reason in the class times available, but longer texts provide more consensual details and the development of character and the plot. Culture difficulty text should not be so culture dense and outsiders feel excellent from understanding essential meaning. And Duff and Malay stressed that teachers can cope with many of some challenges that literature text present if they ask a series of questions to assess the stability of text from any particular group of learners. First questions you is the subject matter likely to interest this group? Is the language level appropriate? Is the right lens for time available? And is cultural awareness in any way? And how can literature text be used? It is teachers can explore literature text in a large number of ways in the classroom. Classroom work with literature work and involve pre-reading tasks, interacting work and the text and follow-up activities. Invited learners to step into the shoes of the writer or invited them of modify, extended or add to a text. That's all.
Okay, thanks a lot. Let's continue.
Can I teach?
I also want to say something. Now,
Nora, yes.
12 students, 12 students are
Yeah,
presenting.
I have noted it,
Yeah.
Galia.
Okay.
Gulnur Ali Khanova.
I will demonstrate here a presentation.
Be quick, please. You are wasting your times.
Using literature text in language teaching. Literature in language. The function of literature in language learning and the teaching has changed. It isn't considered anymore as an excellent model of language usage where readers can have merely and aesthetic reading. On the contrary, it is now considered as a way to promote interactions, critical thinking, and language input. In other words, by encouraging and involving students to comment on different interpretations that one can give to a piece of literature, the critical thinking and language skills are promoted and developed. General literature texts serve for different uh, purposes during the process of language teaching, and therefore language learning through literature may improve students' acquisitions of particular language skills, such as inferring meanings from clues in the text, reading between the lines, and coping with figurative and ambiguous language use. Teachers in language classroom therefore need to guide the students whenever necessary. Another argument which scholars use in favor of literature integration in language teaching is that it provides students with the opportunity to read different varieties of the same language in a single pieces of writing. Literature text uses authentic text of real language in context that students can respond to directly. They examine languages in context by exploring and discussing the text. Literature texts provide examples of language resource being used to the full, and the reader is placed in an active interactional role in working with and making sense of this language. The same beliefs are shared by one who believes that studying literature in the EFL classroom has many advantages because it provides meaningful context. It involves a profound range of vocabulary, theologies, and prose. It develops cultural awareness and encourages critical thinking. As teachers in teacher education programs are working to integrate literature in their language programs, they themselves need some training to achieve results. The interviews think that they are giving some skills to teaching students, but more training is needed, especially for selecting the right literature text and for using it in the class. That's all, teacher.
Okay, thanks a lot. Continue, please. Do we have any volunteers?
Yes, teacher.
Нурай Абдимажитова.
Using literature in English language teaching. Is it visible?
Yeah, we can see it.
Literary texts are novels, poems, stories, fables, and we have pros of using literature texts in language learning, telling stories, and transmitting beliefs. Students are exposed to genuine language and therefore acquire familiarity with different linguistic forms, uses, and conventions of the written form. Students consolidate previously seen languages. Students are exposed to new language and the pronunciation, connected speech features, language formation, and the function of sentences, a variety of structures, a wide range of vocabulary, different ways of connecting ideas. All of this will not only help students to improve their own reading skills, but will also enrich their vocabulary and their oral fluency. Literary texts contain fundamental human issues, which are timeless, universal, and enduring. Literary texts provide endless variety in terms of topics and levels of difficulty, thus providing to both students' affective needs and the students' linguistic needs. Literary texts provide cultural enrichment, especially to those students who haven't been abroad. Through these texts, students can discover the thoughts, the feelings, the habits, the customs, the traditions, and the fears and the everydayness of people in English-speaking countries and all over the world. Literary texts provide many cross-curricular links. Students can also learn a lot in terms of history, geography, music, arts, and drama. Literary texts are open to multiple interpretation. This produces a ready-made opinion gap between one individual and other, which can be bridged by genuine interaction. And also motivation. Using literary texts can be very helpful because of the personal involvement. It fosters in readers in the same way as when reading in language one. It's also fosters the enjoyment of reading. And how the text should be used as a resource rather than the object of study. The text should be selected, adapted carefully, always bearing in mind our students' needs. The text is of central importance as it is the main input of a variety of activities. And activities, for example, the sensory poem of Sally Lewis,
Nuray, we
The
are short
Selfish
in time.
Giant by Oscar Wilde.
Okay, Nuray, thanks a lot. We are short in time. For these students, you have to reconnect, okay, after the break. We have already 10 minutes till the end of the lesson. So reconnect, please.
Okay.